I'm going to tell you the story of old Fatu. Old Fatu had been a midwife for so long that she had been at the births of nearly everyone in the village. One night, she was fast asleep in her bed when there was a rap at the door. It didn't surprise her at all to be woken up in the middle of the night. And as she was getting out of bed, she called, "I'm coming, I'm coming." When she opened the door, she was astounded. There was a huge Jinn, and he grabbed her arm and pulled her out onto the street. Old Fatu's heart beat fast as he dragged her along the street. He was so tall, his legs so long, that she had to run to keep up. And at one point she stumbled and fell. And he stopped and gently set her on her feet again. And she realised then that he meant her no harm. Well, they raced on down through the marketplace and then up streets that old Fatu didn't recognise. And wow, all of a sudden, they were at the most magnificent palace. It sort of shimmered in the dark. And the Jinn took her through the archway and up a magnificent marble staircase and into a vast room. And there on the bed was the Jinn wife. And old Fatu saw immediately why she had been summoned. The Jinn wife's belly was as round as the full moon, but her face was pallid and damp with sweat. She'd clearly been in labour for many hours. Old Fatu went over to her and took from her apron pocket a little piece of herb, and she indicated to the Jinn woman that she should eat it, she should chew on it, and this would relieve her pains. And the Jinn woman did just as she told her. And old Fatu noticed a beautiful necklace of amber, like great lumps of honey. She began to hum gently, rubbing the Jinn woman's back. She mopped her brow, and then suddenly the Jinn woman's belly tightened. Old Fatu knew that a baby was about to be born, and there he came, a beautiful baby boy. And old Fatu held him up and blessed him. Then she wrapped him in a towel and passed him to the Jinn mother. Just then, the Jinn mother's face darkened a little, and she handed the baby up to the Jinn man. And again, her labour began to strain her, and old Fatu hummed and rubbed her back. And shortly after, there was a beautiful baby girl. "Well, well," said old Fatu. And she wrapped the baby in a towel and blessed her and handed her to the Jinn man. While the Jinn man and the Jinn woman looked into each other's eyes and smiled. But just then a shadow went across the Jinn woman's face, and her labour pain started again. And old Fatu, she gently rubbed her back and hummed to her. Soon after that, a beautiful baby boy Bless my soul. This is a wonder to see, said old Fatu. Jinn triplets. And she handed the little baby to the Jinn mother. But it wasn't long before her labour pain started again, and again, and again. And there were Jinn sextuplets. Oh, Fatu sat down. She was exhausted. And as she sat there, she felt a sort of slight dizzying, swaying. And then she rubbed her eyes and she was in the old marketplace. How did I get here? She said. But she made her way home. She was so exhausted. She fell straight into bed and was fast asleep within minutes, and she slept for hours. And when she awoke, there was a steaming bowl of porridge on her table. Oh, she said. Bless you, she called. She thanked the Jinn for their offering. And she ate hungrily. And as the day went on, she thought, I think I'll go to the market and buy myself a little fish for the evening. So she went and bought herself a piece of fish. And later that night she cooked it. And when she opened it up, there inside was the beautiful amber necklace with beads like lumps of honey. She wears that necklace to this day. And when her grandchildren ask about it, she tells them the story of the night that the Jinn sextuplets were born.